Well, I took Terry to the hospital for his examination. In the morning of March the 3rd, 1977. About an hour after he had been examined, the doctor came up to me and told me that it was a malignant tumor. I'll get emotional. The doctor told me it was a malignant tumor and that he was to be admitted within 1 or 2 hours, but the doctor also wanted a second medical opinion and that he didn't want me to tell Terry until possibly the next day. And he wanted me to take Terry out for breakfast and then bring him back to the hospital in an hour or so. So I did, but first I had to phone his mother in a small telephone booth, which was right located in the hospital. So I told Terry I had to phone his mother to tell. Terry knew that he had to stay in the hospital. He didn't know why.
You know, it was an unbelievable thing, and as I say, I thought he was crazy.
Ever since I've known him, he's been a very stubborn type of person, somebody who would never quit at anything.
I had a dream that one day I would try and run across Canada. There were only 2 people who knew about me even thinking of running across Canada until I got to about 11 or 12 miles a day, running about that many miles a day. And when I got to that point, I told my parents, and then sometime in September or October, I approached Blair Mackenzie of the Cancer Society. I approached actually Colin Johnson, who's the chaplain of the Cancer Society in the Cancer Hospital in Vancouver, and he told me he set an appointment for me with Blair Mackenzie of the Cancer Society in Vancouver, and I went over and talked to him about it. He couldn't believe it. Like, he wanted to know, first of all, was I for real? Okay, I'll do a short little speech here before I carry on. I hope you can all understand me. Closer? There? Okay. Tell you shortly why I'm running across Canada and what happened to me. When I was 18 years old in Vancouver, BC, I had a pain develop on the right side of my knee over about a 4 or 5 month period. And one morning I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed, and that day they told me I had a malignant tumor and that I had to have my leg amputated in 4 days. Well, right from the start, it was a terrible shock, but I had encouragement and support from all kinds of people. And so right from the beginning, I took it as a challenge and decided I'd try and do my best and show people what could be done on one leg. And I decided after my 1.5 years of chemotherapy that I'd try and run across Canada and raise as much money as I could for the Canadian Cancer Society and try and help out these people. You know, sometimes I have to run in a lot of pain and I get pretty tired. But I don't feel any pain when I get support like this. So you're fabulous, and I'd just like to thank you for that.
The gold medal that Terry wears today was given by the young people from Grand Falls.
told me that he was going to run across Canada was when he was running about 3 miles a day in training. And when he said it, I never thought it was impossible, because I knew Terry, and when he said something, he meant it.
Determination. He's probably much more determined in things that he has done, and this has been a case ever since he was about 9 or 10 years old. You could start seeing this take fold in him, you know. Well, it was just another feat in his life. If I'm going to have to go through life like this, well, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Running across Newfoundland was an experience because I ran through in April, and it's still winter in Newfoundland in April. I went through running through snow about 5 or 6 times. It was very cold. In terms of weather, that was one of the problems. Another thing about Newfoundland was it was a very barren country. In terms of scenery, the only nice scenery is on the ocean. Other than that, you know, the poor old trees there have trouble growing. But one thing about Newfoundland I really liked was the people. The people there were just, you know, fantastic and so friendly. Right from St. John's to Port au Basque.
I was the first to sign the Terry Fox story just a couple days after he left Newfoundland, St. John's, about April 15th or 16th. And I was writing for the Toronto Star. And we tracked him down about 90 miles out of St. John's and asked if he'd be in touch with us every week as long as he was running.
Nova Scotia, I really enjoyed Cape Breton Island. It was beautiful running down through Cape Breton Island. Along the ocean, I ran down the number 7 highway from Antigonish to Halifax. Prince Edward Island, I really enjoyed. We were only there for a day and a quarter, and it was just a fantastic thing. It was so neat being on such a tiny island and to be able to say I ran through another province so quickly. I really enjoyed the smaller towns in New Brunswick because in those areas, the people were great and supportive.
First time I met Terry, before the run, like early in the morning, he was just like a regular guy, nothing special. And then when the first time I saw him run, I think it was just like the same feeling everybody else had when they saw Terry run past. It was like overwhelming, you know, like wow. You know, that's not very a descriptive word, but I think there was really no words to describe how you felt. The food Terry ate was just absolutely phenomenal. His breakfast consisted of, it was almost always the same. It was either a double order of French toast or a double order of pancakes. And along with that, he'd have a couple of Danishes and a double order of toast and a chocolate milkshake and a Coke and a tomato juice and maybe some rice pudding or a can of beans in the morning, if you can imagine a can of beans. Lunchtime was French fries and, say, a clubhouse sandwich. You didn't eat too much at lunch. At night, it was literally, that was the running joke. I'm going to order the same thing at Terry. I'll have one of everything on that side and one of everything on that side, which is really almost what he ordered every night. Just ate phenomenal amounts of food. Doug's cooking was, I think, brought a new meaning to the word mediocre. I'm glad we had restaurants. It was almost as bad as my cooking.
His pal, Doug. Doug is really a puzzler. I once wrote that if old friends are golden, Doug is pure platinum. Because I've never met anyone who seems so self-sacrificing and so willing to serve a friend These people aren't related. Two boys weren't related. Yet there was Doug acting as a parent to him, as a organizer, preparing his meals, making arrangements for interviews, driving the van, waiting patiently. Perhaps he was too self-effacing. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how he stood it.
Well, we've been good friends for a number of years, and I was a runner myself. And really, there wasn't anybody else available to go, as we were both going to university, and he wanted a close friend of his to go with him. So that's how I guess I got the job.
When I'm running each day, I take one day at a time. When I'm running, I take 1 mile at a time, and I take one corner at a time. Every signpost, I'm looking at it and reaching out for that signpost. Every corner, I'm reaching out, and this is the type of thing I'm thinking of when I'm running. I think of home a lot. I think of running into Vancouver and running into where I'm going to finish on the ocean, and all you got to do is take another step and keep on going.
I know he mentioned it to me a year ago, May. And when he said it, we thought it might take 2 years training to get ready for the run, just to get through all the injuries and to get up to the mileage that he'd have to handle to get across Canada before winter set in. And so, but it only took a year's training, and that was surprising. He went through a number of injuries in training, but he got over them very quickly, which is sort of surprising, because it usually takes longer for the body to adapt, but his body adapted quite quickly to doing the steady mileage.
Terry went through a lot of, problems in training, which didn't occur on his run. Like, he had a lot of blisters, ingrown toenail problems, shin splints, and that. And this never occurred when he started his run.
Well, I think going through Quebec was a little bit hard because nobody knew what was going on. There's a language difference, which made it double difficult. And nobody knew what was going on. It was just a matter of getting through the day and bunking up in the camper and hoping to get to Ontario because we knew it would be good there. That was a little bit tough because we knew the people of Quebec were willing to respond, because once we got some publicity, the next morning all kinds of cars were pulling over, handing in $5, $10, $20 bills. And we're a little bit disappointed that there hadn't been better publicity to give the Quebec people a chance to respond and donate to the Cancer Fund.